Beautiful afternoon to you, and many thanks for joining us on the program Healthy Living with yours sincerely, Oloije Oihokai. Today on Healthy Living, we are looking at liver cirrhosis and liver cancer. To do that with us, to educate us more on this, is the person of Dr. Omo Okwasuyi Igbinosa. Good afternoon, sir.
Good afternoon.
And we're super glad to have you here with us today. Out of your busy schedule, you decided to come educate us on this very topic. So it's a big thank you to you.
Thank you for having me.
All right, so quickly now, let's look into what is liver cirrhosis.
For starters, when your liver is healthy, there's no cirrhosis.
Okay.
But by the time the liver begins to get sick, then cirrhosis begins to form. And for cirrhosis to form, the liver gets sick, it's able to get back to normal, it gets sick again, gets back to normal. Just the way people fall sick, they get well, fall sick, get well. But over a long period of time, you know, the ability for the liver, because the liver can regenerate itself, to be able to go back to the way it was originally begins to go down. And so in the process, the architecture, the nomenclature, the shape, the size of the liver, the content inside begins to deform. And that's what we, in conclusion, we say it's liver cirrhosis.
Okay. All right. So when we talk about some persons, they might be wondering now, what is the cirrhosis? You've talked about the liver healing and the liver getting sick and healing itself and getting sick. Now, what are these symptoms? What are these things that, or the causes of the liver getting sick and, getting back to heal itself and all of that? So what are the causes?
Basically, persons may, or people in the house may discover the person having such condition will have yellowness of the eyes. That's one of the very common things that is predominant. It comes and goes, or it may worsen, it may deepen from light yellowish becomes deep yellow. The person's urine too may also change. For some people, they could have a dark urine, what we call coke colored. It's like coke, they'll be urinating such. After a while, there could be such persons may be having pain on the right side of the abdomen, where we call stomach, the right upper side. There will be pain there. Those are some of the things a person may have. Then, in addition, there may be swelling of the legs. Once they press the leg, it will be going. I see there's water gathering in the legs. So those are some of the common symptoms we find in people that have liver problems that eventually result in liver.
Okay. Now, some persons out there might be thinking, now, is it because of my kind of living, my style of living, that causes one to have liver cirrhosis, leading to liver cancer? Now, we want to know what kind of lifestyle can one live, or does one have to live to, that we will now say, okay, this person, because of this way the person is living, and that is the reason why it has resulted to liver cirrhosis.
There's a place for lifestyle. There's a place for hereditary diseases too. There's also a place for the environment. There's a place for genetics. So it's not just a one cap fits all, as it were. But of course, just like you said, lifestyle plays a major role. For people who take a lot of alcohol, people who smoke, they're at risk. People who don't live healthy, who take a lot of drugs. Even for those who are sick, who take medications. There are certain medications that are at risk of causing liver cirrhosis. So lifestyle, alcohol, frequent alcohol consumption, cigarette smoking, the major lifestyle habits that could lead to this. As I said, there are other things. Chronic ailments like diabetes, has a role to play in causing liver cirrhosis, which, of course, at the end of the day, may lead to liver cancer. Genetics, in the family line, has a role to play. The environment where the person is also has a role to play. Okay,
can eating habit also lead to this?
Yes and no. Eating well is also good, because by the time the liver is deteriorating and person doesn't eat according to a diet, it can worsen the condition of the liver. But say as a risk factor from the very onset, no.
Okay. Now we find some persons saying it's healthy, it's good to take in a lot of water. It helps the system, it helps digestion and all of that. Now, does the intake of water help you know, in taking care of our organs?
Yes. Our body, to a large extent, is made up of water. And so having water in our system plays a very major role in keeping us healthy. So yes, I agree with you that water has a good role to play.
Okay, now someone might be asking, how many times can one take in water? Like some persons, they will just wait for them, just when they are solely eating, when they're done eating, they take water. So is it just when you're eating, you need to take water, or at what particular time does one need to take in water?
There's a certain percentage based on our weight, but on a general note, frequent intake of water, so that we are not dehydrated. As much as you can when you are eating, in between meals, when you are tasty, it's good to take water.
Okay.
Because the more water you take, the more you will digress and go to the toilet to urinate. Of course, but there's a balance. You should take as much water as your body can tolerate.
As much as you can. So how does liver cirrhosis lead to liver cancer?
Thank you very much. Now, as I said, it's not a one-day thing. It's not a 2-year thing. It's not a 5-year thing. It's actually an ongoing process. And let me say categorically that liver cirrhosis has certain conditions that could cause it, basically. Those who have chronic viral ailments, hepatitis B and C. And that's why there's so much campaign, so much attention, so much clinical emphasis on hepatitis C. And that's why I'm repeating it. For persons who have hepatitis B and C, need to come to the hospital. Because hepatitis B, especially, then C, are the two major causes of liver cirrhosis. And liver cirrhosis, over a long time, 10, 15, 20 years, many of them come down with liver cancer.
Okay, okay. So is there a particular test one should go for, like in a year? You want to check your, you know, your body and check your organs. Is there a particular test that you would advise one to go to you know, to check how the organs are functioning, especially the liver?
It's advised that on the average once a year for a general check.
General check.
Yes. If we now want to come down to the liver, yes, there are specific tests that we can do on a general note. Once you go to the hospital, you can do an ultrasound scan of the abdomen, and the liver is there. You can check the liver. So if there's any abnormality, of course, you'll be appropriately directed to the gastroenterologist. In addition, there are also blood tests that can be done. The liver function test, along with the serum proteins, one of the basic tests that checks the liver itself. And once there are abnormalities, of course, the person should be further tested and treated appropriately.
Okay. All right, so in case you just joined us, this is Healthy Living, and we're talking to Dr. Omo on liver cirrhosis and liver cancer. Always remember, it's good for us to, you know, do a regular check, yes. Like Dr. Omo actually said, once in a year, you do a general check.
Average, yes.
Now, when we talk about hospitals like UBTH, which is a federal hospital, now some persons, they might feel, oh, it's too expensive. So how would you advise one that have that notion, it's too expensive, I cannot go for it? So what are the advice you would give to such a person in order for the person to know that, hey, your health is even much more better than, you know, or far much better than the money you're thinking of? So what is that advice you should give to that person?
First of all, UBTH is the pinnacle. It's a tertiary environment for, you know, for persons getting treatments. And for it being a tertiary environment, there's multiple specialists. And so it's actually advised that, yes, when you are sick, you should get to the hospital. And in Benin, UBTH is one of the best places you can go to. Now in UBTH, we don't just, it's not just a one specialist area. We have specialists in virtually every area. Now for investigations, you know, we just talked about once a year, you know, average of once a year. If you go to CDC, you know, they could run these investigations for you. And once there's any abnormality anyway, you'll be appropriately directed to where you need to go to. Another place where you could go to in UBTH is the general practice clinic, where you could complain, and once it's discovered that there's a problem in a particular area, you know, of course, you'll be sent to that area where they are experts. But just as you said, there are several other places where one can go to in Benin. Of course, we have the specialist hospital, we have other centers, then we have good private facilities.
Okay. Now, some persons, they said, I have a pain at my back. Does it, or is it a sign of liver cirrhosis?
We talked about the basic symptoms. Pain at the back is not a common complaint for persons that have liver cirrhosis.
Okay.
Let me just run through them again. Yellowness of the eyes, there's swelling in the legs, which may go up to affect the thighs, as a lapse. The person may even be wasted. Now, by that time the person is losing weight, we are thinking of a liver cancer, possibly. The person's stomach is distended. The person's stomach is swollen.
Yeah.
There's fluid inside too. In addition to that, the person may begin to, talk irrationally. There's that normal conversation you have with such persons is no longer there. These are some of the 30 signs we see. The person may be losing blood. The person is pale. The hands are pale. The eyes are looking very whitish. Those are some of the things we see. Chest pain or back pain ordinarily is not a sign. If it's there, it's an indication of something more than just liver cirrhosis.
Okay, so what about stooling and itching of the body?
Yes, itching of the body it's actually a pointer to a problem in the liver.
Okay.
A primary liver problem. It could be something else anyway, but of course, once somebody comes with itching of the body, yes. Now, for persons that have liver cirrhosis and possibly have liver cancer, there could be complications of that of the condition. And in such cases, of course, the person may be stooling blood. The person may be vomiting blood. In fact, a lot of persons come to the hospital, is precisely now. The only complaint they have is they are vomiting blood. They are stooling blood, their stool is dark, or their stool is red, as the case may be. And these are telltale signs that they may be a problem with the liver. Not specifically, they may be. So we want to investigate and find out where precisely is having the issue, where such person is having that. So yes, stooling of blood or passing dark stool is one of the things we look out for persons that have liver cirrhosis.
Okay. All right, so we'll take a short break right now. Remember, it is Healthy Living, and we're looking at liver cirrhosis and liver cancer. We're looking at some other methods on how one can actually diagnose liver cancer.
I want to start with liver cirrhosis.
Okay.
Now, once somebody is coming to our clinic, and we do an abdominal ultrasound scan, and we find that there's liver cirrhosis, we have a high index of suspicion. Because once there's cirrhosis, there's likelihood that the person may go on to have cancer. And so what we do is that every 6 months, the person must do an ultrasound scan, abdominal ultrasound scan. Yeah. In addition, we could do what we call tumor markers. There are specific tumor markers, alpha-fetoprotein, that we do. So we do average of 2 tests every 6 months for such persons. We want to make sure we find out. Now, because one of the problems we found out is that a lot of persons who have liver cancer don't come to the hospital on time. They go to private facilities or they go to traditional places where they say they have malaria, they have typhoid, they keep treating them until it becomes too late. So once we can catch them early, so once there's liver cirrhosis, we look out and we catch them early, then we can treat them.
Okay.
So the first step is to do a resection, liver resection. There's a high cure rate. But once it gets too long and the entire liver is affected and possibly goes to other parts of the body, what we call metastasis, becomes more challenging to treat.
Okay. All right. So what are the different stages of liver cirrhosis, and how can this lead to impact of treatments?
Okay. Well, liver cirrhosis, it's pre-malignant. Malignant means cancer now. And so that's why, as I said, of course, there are stages. I would not want to bore our audience with academic stuff here right now. But there are stages we look at. But as I said, once we identify cirrhosis, we want to go ahead to monitor. Now, if we now see that there are masses in the liver, which most likely,
to be there.
Which ought not to be there, yes, we take them seriously. Okay. We query a cancer, so we send for further investigations. Okay. The CT scan, abdominal CT scan, that's one of the very common ones we do. We want to identify and see, because there could be tumors which may be benign or cancerous. So if it's a benign tumor, which is quite rare, we follow up and do what we need to do. But once it's cancerous, we try to be as aggressive as possible because of metastasis, which could lead to death of such persons.
Okay. All right. In order not to seem like we are digressing, someone just sent a message and said she actually went for a test and they said she had an enlarged liver. So how does that come about?
Well, enlarged liver occurs when the liver is undergoing changes. You know, we talked about the liver falling sick from whatever cause, whether it's from viral ailments, whether it's from diabetes, whether it's from too much alcohol or genetics or whatever. So one of the first things that happens is that as the liver is recuperating, it gets bigger. Okay. So it's expected that at the initial stage, the liver will get bigger. And of course, on ultrasound, we can discover it. So, but when we see like that, we want to investigate what may be the likely cause or causes or such. So the person who sent you that message should get to the hospital to be investigated for that, to find out. In many cases, it could be something that is treatable. So once you treat it, the liver goes back to its normal size and life continues. But if not, we want to continue, follow up on such persons on a long-term basis. Okay, so is there a kind of awareness to the general public on liver cirrhosis and, of course, liver cancer? Yes. I'm a gastroenterologist in training, and at least once a year, it's actually once a year, more than once a year, we have a specific days that is geared towards, we talk about specific liver conditions. And I remember very rightly, I was on air with you some months back to talk about, hepatitis B, hepatitis C. I'm here again. So these are part of the ways we talk. We make the society aware and remind those who have it, especially because there are people who have it who don't see it as anything. But of course, it's very important that once you have liver cirrhosis, once you have hepatitis B or C, once you are diabetic, or you are somebody that takes a lot of alcohol, or somebody that is obese on the big side, it's very important that you come for at least once a year checkup in a good facility, so that once there are problems, you can be referred in these areas. As it concerns what we are discussing, it can be referred to the gastroenterologist for follow-up. Okay. Now, someone just sent a message also, and he said eating habits. Now, someone actually told him that he should stop eating red meat and also maybe stop eating not later than 6 o'clock. Does that also help in protection or in fight against liver cirrhosis? Eating red meat, yes, diet has a role to play because in some of the causes, now one of the causes of liver cirrhosis or liver cancer is what we used to know as non-alcoholic fatty liver disease. So you don't take a lot of alcohol, you don't smoke, but there's fat in the liver. And once the fat accumulates in the liver, it begins to cause destruction, injury of the liver cells, which can lead to cirrhosis, So that's what we call fatty liver? Yes, now what we call fatty liver. The name has been changed, but I just decided to stick with the old name for those who are already very familiar with it. Now, for such persons, of course, there's a need for diet changes. But not eating red meat, it's a general risk factor for certain cancers. So for healthier living or healthy living now, tell you to reduce, red meats. Of course, it's a general thing. But, as I said, there are several things could cause liver cirrhosis, liver cancer, with hepatitis B and C being at the forefront. But there are several other things. Excess liver in the body, excess copper, having a liver disease that is genetic and other things. Too much of alcohol. As I mentioned, diabetes, obesity, and all of this. So, of course, there's a rule for diet. Not eating red meat, too much of red meat. Too much, yeah. Yes, helps to reduce the incidence of cancer. Okay. Exercise. What about exercise? Yes, plays a role. As I mentioned, there are no alcoholic fatty liver disease. Exercise plays a role in ensuring that in that particular disease entity, regular exercise of 150 minutes on the average, you can split it in a week, helps to reduce fats, not just in the abdomen, not just body fat, but also in the liver. Okay, one that is actually in a slim person now, can that person have fatty liver? It's possible. Okay. Now, because when we are looking at, I keep going back to non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, a person who has normal weight, normal BMI, could have fatty liver.
Oh.
You know, with their criteria for it, that's a lot of academic stuff. But once such persons, you do scan, because that's the first thing. For whatever reason, you go and do an abdominal ultrasound scan, and there's fatty liver. Then we want to find out what may be the cause. So if it fits into non-alcoholic fatty liver disease, we now want to go ahead, you know, to caution, to do exercise and all of that. That on its own helps to reduce the fat in the liver for that particular condition.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Omo. What is your last take on this topic, liver cirrhosis, liver cancer? And also, we also digressed into fatty liver, just as the message came in. So, in generality, what's your advice to, you know, everyone watching and listening to us right now?
A lot of persons still don't believe that, you know, the black man falls sick. The black man can fall sick. Cancer is more prevalent than we thought, and people are dying. And so it's good for you to be investigated. At least once a year, go for investigations. You must be tested. And once you are tested and you are told you have hepatitis C, or there's HIV, or there's hepatitis B, or you have fatty liver, and you are referred to the appropriate experts, you know, try and follow up, go to clinic. If you are told to do investigations, do them, and do them on time. Because there are a lot of persons, like for those who have hepatitis B now, there are several tests, specific tests that they do on a regular basis. Well, because of funds, lack of funds, a lot of times they don't do it. But we'll, as much as possible, try to follow up. So come to the hospital, do investigations, see your doctors, and follow medical treatment. And at the same time, you should also be motivated enough to, you know, follow up. Because a lot of persons, they just go to the hospital, they don't also do self-care, you know, in accordance with what they've been told by their doctors. So that is very important.
All right, thank you so much, Dr. Omo.
Thank you for having me.
And thanks for educating us and giving us more insight on liver cirrhosis and liver cancer. So we'll be seeing you again next week for another exciting time. Now remember, health is wealth. Now, Dr. Omo actually said, or rightly said, once a year, do a general checkup. Yes. Okay, do a general checkup. You can actually save towards it. Like some persons are doing daily contribution. Just tell yourself, okay, I want to save up to the month of maybe April and go for a general checkup. It doesn't take anything, and you might just notice one or two things that the doctor has, you know, seen, and it might just be something that will help you live longer and healthier. All right, till we'll be seeing again next week for another exciting time on Healthy Living. To have yourself a blessed day. Bye for now.